Now by Hong Kong legislator Albert Ho. He is set to speak at a rally this weekend in support of Snowden. Mr. Ho, thank you for joining us here on Newsstream. Why are you rallying in support of Edward Snowden this weekend?
Well, first of all, I think this is a very important moment where, our legal system may be put to test. Mr. Snowden may be facing extradition proceedings. Now, we have to make sure that the proceedings will conform with due process.
But the legal system has not been put to the test yet.
Yes.
So why does this matter to the people of Hong Kong?
Now, this is, I just mentioned the first point. Okay. The second point is that according to Mr. Snowden, it appears that our right to privacy may have been systematically violated by the American National Security Agency. Now, I think we are entitled to know the truth, and we are entitled to seek an account from the U.S. administration.
Now, are you in contact with Edward Snowden or anyone who represents him?
Not directly.
Okay. Does he have legal representation here in Hong Kong?
I think he will have, and he will turn up sooner or later if he's going to face proceedings.
Now, in addition to being a Hong Kong legislator, you're also a practicing barrister. So what are the legal options for Edward Snowden?
I think he can certainly plead that he is facing possible political persecution or even torture. Now, if he can satisfy the court that the offense that he is alleged to have committed is of a political nature, then he can certainly seek to be exonerated, from being taken away under extradition back to the United States.
Now, there is an extradition treaty between Hong Kong and the United States.
Yes.
So if charges are filed and the United States does request Hong Kong to extradite Edward Snowden back to the U.S., what will Hong Kong do?
Now, the Hong Kong government may, firstly, to take steps in pursuance of the treaty provisions. Namely, they have to find out whether or not certain requirements are satisfied. The first criteria is the double criminality requirement. Namely, if the charge Mr. Snowden is going to face in the United States has similar, provision in our statute book, then, this is the first requirement that has to be met. For instance, if you're going to be charged for treason, while we don't have such offense in our statute book, then the provision for extradition cannot be evoked. And second thing is whether or not there are prima facie evidence, and thirdly, whether or not the offense is of a political nature. I think he's going to resist it vigorously, and he will be receiving help.
Now, it has happened before. Americans have been extradited from Hong Kong to the U.S.
Yes, indeed. Right.
And I've read that the process, if it was to take place for Edward Snowden here, it would take between 3 to 5 years. Is that right? Why would it take that long?
Now, firstly, there would be preliminary proceedings to be started in the lowest court, acting as a goalkeeper. But if the court were to find one way or the other, I think possibly there would be appeal to a high court by way of judicial review.
And this is the key question. I think it's the key concern that you have.
Yes.
Would Beijing intervene?
Under a basic law, Beijing can have a final say if if the central government takes the view that the matter is of a nature that may have impact on the foreign relationship between China and the United States. But whether or not this matter fall within such an arena, it is something that has to be decided by the court. But of course, the central government may evoke its power of interpretation under the basic law, which is final and binding on the Hong Kong court. But in this case, most of the lawyers and politicians tend to think that it is quite unlikely that Beijing is going to intervene.
Right. Final question for you. Do you think it was a wise decision for Edward Snowden to come to Hong Kong?
Oh, really, it's difficult to answer at this stage. But it's better to leave him to answer this question. But he may think that there is not many options. There are not many options open to him. If he choose a country which may be famous for upholding the rule of law, but he may be fearful that such country may be overpowered by the United States. Okay, they have seen the WikiLeaks case, where Mr. Assange was is facing extradition proceedings in the United States, and is now forced to seek asylum in an embassy.
That's right.
So he may have a lot of concern, but Hong Kong is politically distanced from the United States, and he thinks that maybe this is a place where he finds a little bit of comfort, and that he may be receiving a lot of support from people who have sympathy with him. But the answer may surface later.
And there's people showing sympathy for him, including yourself. Will show up at this rally to take place on Saturday. It's at Chater Gardens, 3 p.m. here in Hong Kong.
Right.
Mr. Albert, hope we'll leave it at that. But thank you very much indeed for joining us here on Newsstream.
Welcome.